Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we've got another Chelsea transfer news video, and yeah, we've got some big stories about Frank Lampard. Is he going to stay? We've actually got some managers lined up to replace him, so I'll be covering that. Fikir Tomori going on loan to Newcastle, maybe Ben White coming in from Brighton, and then some words of wisdom from Frank Lampard right at the end. So without further ado, let's get into it. So today there's actually not going to be a comment of the day because there was actually no comments on the last video. So if you want to feature in one of these videos, just comment down below your opinion on any of the stories and I'll put you in the video if I like your opinion, and I'll agree with it, disagree with it, and yeah, so comment down below and let's get into it. Okay, so first up, after the disgraceful performance, disappointing, disgraceful, uncharacteristic, there's so many words I could have described that performance at home to Man City last night. I was so distraught with the result, really. I don't think we played some bad football. Some of the players looked like they just couldn't be bothered to play well, which is very frustrating as, well, you're professional footballers. And yeah, I think something needs to change at the club, whether that be a change in formation, maybe it's a change in manager. I don't think it's the right time at the moment to change Lampard, but you can't prove the facts. We've only got one win out of our last 7 games, and that was at West Ham. We also drew to Villa, and I think I can't remember the rest of them. We lost a lot of games, and now we've dropped all the way down to 8th in the table, despite splashing £250 million in the summer. We brought in so many good players like Hakim Ziyech, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Ben Chilwell, Edouard Mendy, Thiago Silva, and they're just not doing the business. Thiago Silva's obviously been great. Ben Chilwell's been a massive upgrade at left back over Marcus Alonso, but he's still not turning up in some games. Like against Aston Villa, he was doing great down the left hand side, but then against Man City and against Arsenal, he does nothing. Kai Havertz is still looking a little bit weak in tackles. I think he needs to buff up a bit and get used to the physicality of the league. Timo Werner, he started off well, it's just not going well for him at the moment. I think he needs a goal, get his confidence back, and then just let this goal start flowing in. I think eventually he will be able to get a lot of goals. And also Thiago Silva, like I said, he's been great. Edouard Mendy, he started off well, he's starting to drop off a little bit, but anyway, we spent a lot of money and we're not doing well enough for how much money we spent. Potential replacements for Frank Lampard have already been lined up with Thomas Tuchel, Massimiliano Allegri, Julian Nagelsmann and Brendan Rodgers being identified as candidates to take over. So I'm going to go through each manager that I've lined up here that I've seen has got odds to become the next Chelsea manager. Starting off with Thomas Tuchel, obviously was the PSG manager. He led them to the Champions League final last season, in which they lost to Bayern Munich. Recently got sacked after a really bad start in Ligue 1. I think they're 3rd in the league. They appointed Mauricio Pochettino. And I think he'd be good. He's German. He could try and get the most out of Kai Havertz, Timo Werner. But like I said, I don't think it's time just yet to sack Frank Lampard. I think if we do end up sacking him at the end of the season, Tuchel would be a good manager, I guess, to bring in. But he doesn't really let the youngsters thrive in his teams. If you look at it, he's always playing more experienced players over the young ones, which I don't really agree with. Lampard's the opposite. He's playing, if you're good enough and no matter what age you are, you're getting in the first team, which leads nicely on to Massimiliano Allegri. He's obviously won it all in Italy for Juventus. He's out of a job. He was linked with the Arsenal job, but Arteta's somehow managed to get the results recently. They beat us, obviously. They've been playing some nice football. Allegri as well, he doesn't really put trust in the youth players. Julian Nagelsmann, I think, would be great. like I said, I'm not saying that I want Lampard out. These are just some potential replacements. Julian Nagelsmann is the current RB Leipzig manager. He's literally the reason why Timo Werner was such a good striker for them, and he basically turned him into a great striker. He's the German Jamie Vardy, and who better to bring in than the man that changed Timo Werner's career, got the best out of him. But the only thing is, we'd be getting rid of Lampard because of his inexperience, and Nagelsmann is literally 33, so you can't call him experienced at all. I think he's basically just going to do a similar job to Lampard. I do like him. He would be a good potential replacement. He also puts trust in the youth players, like he does out for RB Leipzig in Germany. And lastly, Brendan Rodgers, the Leicester manager. They're playing some really nice football. He also puts trust in youngsters. He's playing Wesley Fofana at the back, Luke Thomas, Harvey Barnes has been brilliant recently. I think Harvey Barnes has been one of my players of the season so far, and he's so young. Jamie Vardy, obviously very similar to Timo Werner. The way he just uses his pace and his finishing ability. Doesn't need skills, doesn't need his weak foot, just pace and his finishing ability. I think Brendan Rodgers, personally, if we were to get rid of Lampard, Brendan Rodgers would be my first choice, the highest up there. But I think we should just let Lampard's contract run out, or just at least to the end of the season. If nothing's changed, then maybe look for a replacement. But I don't think Leicester would want to get rid of Brendan Rodgers at all. He's playing some nice football. They're currently third in the table, and I don't know if he'll want to leave Leicester or not. Okay, on to the second story today. After returning from Leeds on loan, Ben White has really impressed for Brighton this season. And according to Scout's index rating, the 23-year-old is the fourth best performing centre-back in the league so far this season, behind Chelsea duo Kurt Zouma, Thiago Silva, and Arsenal's Gabriel. I'd love to see Ben White join us. He's obviously another English young player. He's commanding at the back, and he's got a massive future ahead of him. I think we were linked to him back in the summer, with Leeds desperate to sign him permanently. Liverpool also interested, but Brighton just rejected every asking price for Leeds. I don't think Chelsea or Liverpool ended up putting in a bid. Maybe Liverpool did, but Brighton managed to keep hold of him, and they're not in the relegation zone, but they're quite close to it. They could get at least £40 million for Ben White. He's been predominantly played in a three-back system this season, next to Lewis Dunk and Adam Webster. Tarek Lamptey out at right wing back, Sonny March is playing out at left wing back, and they're having a bit of goalkeeper problems. I think they need to get a new goalkeeper. But yeah, I'd love to see Ben White at the club. Comment down below. Fikayo Tomori, after his really impressive first half of the season, especially last time out last year, he kind of fell off, and he's really fallen down the pecking order at the club after the introduction of Thiago Silva and the revival of Kurt Zouma. He's been a brilliant centre-back this season. He's such an aerial threat from corners and free kicks as well. And yeah, it's just really working. Well, it was working, not anymore. Not against Man City or Arsenal. I'm just really annoyed about that result last night. And yeah, Tomori's not played. He's not seen any first-team football at all this season, apart from when I can remember he came on off the bench because Andreas Christensen got a red card in the Liverpool game, and he performed quite well, but he's not seen any other first team experience other than that this season, I don't think. And Steve Bruce, managing Newcastle, obviously, is reportedly plotting 2 January additions, one being Chelsea's Fikayo Tomori, with Newcastle looking to bring him in on a loan deal lasting for the remainder of the season alongside Leicester's Hamza Chowdhury. I like Newcastle, they've got a good team. Alan Saint-Maximin, I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's got a massive future ahead of him. They got some good defenders. Brought that guy in from Norwich, I can't remember his name. But anyway, he's been decent this season. They got a good keeper, and yeah, they're looking a little bit shaky, but they've got like 2 or 3 games in hand, and they're like 15th, 16th. So I don't think they'll be going down. Tomori was expected to leave on loan to Rennes this month, but might prefer a move to another English team in the Premier League in Newcastle, as I obviously speak his language. I don't know if he speaks French, but he'd probably have to learn French if he's going on loan to Rennes for 6 months. I don't think there's any point in that. Yeah, I'd like to see him go on loan in a Premier League club, get some first team experience in the same league as Chelsea. Hopefully in the next 2-3 years he can be a first team player week in, week out. Okay, lastly, I started off with Frank Lampard and we're going to end with Frank Lampard. Despite the results going against him recently, like I said, we've got 1 win in our last 7 games. Frank Lampard has stated that he's never going to walk away from Stamford Bridge, which is what you want to hear from Lampard, from Frank Lampard. He's our manager, he's probably our best ever player, and he's not going to resign, which is just the best thing I could ever hear at the moment. He goes on to say in an interview that, quote, "I enjoy the pressure. If I didn't enjoy it, I would not have got back into this," talking about going back to Chelsea, managing them after his brilliant career, because he could have been a complete flop. He could have ruined his career, basically. He could have undone all the good work he did in his playing days by flopping at the club. And he said, "Or I would walk away at the first chance," which I think by now, if it was a different manager, Antonio Conte, Maurizio Sarri, Jose Mourinho, the managers that come to mind in the last few years that have had like a not very good patch of play, they get sacked pretty early on or they resign. And he says that's never ever going to be something I would do. Like I said, this is exactly what you want to hear from Lampard. A good mindset, and he even insists that he's thriving on the demands of the role, which is perfect. That's exactly what you want to hear from the head coach. And hopefully sooner or later we can start picking the results back up. Thank you very much for watching. That is the end of the video. Make sure you like, make sure you comment on any of your opinions, and you can feature in the next episode, which will be tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm going to try and do these every day throughout the January transfer window. Yeah, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out, and goodbye.